Welcome back to Moonshine Performance. Today we're going to do some sort of update kind of thing. We're going to mount some solenoids for nitrous and kind of get, the carb on this thing ready and set up and ready to go. And Moonshine is sitting here as well. We're getting work done on that. Still, from the last video, the intake, blower, and scoop are not all bolted on. But we got to wait, and we're going to buy some wiring. Some like wires and stuff like that, wiring components and stuff, and we're gonna go ahead and wire the whole thing up. We gotta get an EGT, and that is very expensive. So we're waiting for this to sell in order for us to buy that stuff. So kind of at a standstill a little bit, but this is we're finding stuff to do. We have the nitrous plate here, and so how this works: nitrous comes in on this side, and fuel comes in on this side because it's a wet system, is what they call it. Yep. And if you look close, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, there. Okay, so the holes, these things have holes in them right there, and that's what allows everything to be shot into the intake. So you hook nitrous up there and fuel up here. Actually, we're going to put this thing on the other way around. Again, nothing on here is permanent. All these are relatively loose. And but we're gonna have nitrous come in here, fuel come in here. We're gonna have a nitrous solenoid on the back side here of the throttle plate for the throttle cable. We got that mounted as well and set up and ready to go. We also got the return spring. I'll show you that in a second. But we gotta get the nitrous solenoid here. We're gonna have nitrous coming in from the bottle back there and have it run all the way along here and come in about here, and then have a line coming from here to the inlet. And then fuel will start over here. We have a fitting that we have to weld. I believe it's over here. Yeah, so here is fuel fitting. Right there, we gotta finish welding that. And that'll be for the fuel side. So off of that, fuel will come in all the way around to here to the back side. Well, actually no, it'll come in over here to the solenoid, and then from the solenoid back over to there. So that's kind of what we're working with now. And then all this wiring over here, I forgot which ones were nitrous. Maybe it's this one. Nope, that's wide open throttle. So that will go up to the wide open throttle switch on the back of the carburetor. And then from there, it'll go to the solenoids. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. Over here, this is our return spring. So I don't even remember what this red piece of steel was. This is kind of a plate that sits on here. We just use 2 machine screws because the scoop sits on top of that, and this is this is kind of how it's going to work. So the scoop will hold that down, and then when you pull the throttle, obviously these springs will pull it back because you need that. Here's what I'm talking about with the nitrous solenoid. Obviously these screws are too long, but this will sit here, and then this line goes right to the side like that. And then the fuel one will be roughly over here. That's still on my Fox body. I haven't got that off yet because that's what's holding all my fuel in. And so we gotta get this permanently mounted up, and then I could probably wire this one today. And that's what we're gonna be working on today. I got a battery temporarily wired up with some jumper cables. So you go from obviously positive, negative to ground on the chassis, and positive to the main line. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn power on, and I'm going to get in here and kind of show you how everything works as far as electronics go and where everything's going to be. We still have to wire up the trans brake button in here. But other than that, really, there's nothing else to do in there. It's just a little bit of wiring back here and we're finished. We got to wire up the fan, and we have to wire up the tail light that'll be on the wing. And we have to wire up, what else? Nitrous. I think that's it. That should be it. So here's our kill switch, I guess. The battery shut off. So what you do is you pull that out to give it power, and you can't really tell right now, but it's powered. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get in this thing. All right, I'm in the cockpit now, and this is the view of the driver. So I'm gonna take you through what it's gonna look like in order to make a pass in this car. So first thing you do, get in, get your seatbelt on, whatever, and then I think we're gonna go ahead and turn the lights on here. So that turns on your whole entire dash. It also turns on the tail light that you need at the drag strip. Now, next thing you're gonna do is, obviously you've already been towed to the lane, to the lane there, and you're gonna turn your car on. So in this case, we need to turn on ignition over here, and we need to purge the fuel pump. And we're not sure if we are going to use the water pump yet. because it might not even need it. Obviously, in case it does overheat a little bit, we'll run that and cool it down. But we're not even sure if we'll need to run that while we're making a pass. But you'll turn your fuel pump on. I don't want to turn that on now because it'll start pumping. I don't want to burn it up. We don't have any fuel in there. And we have an extra switch over here. I'm not sure what it's for, but after you've done all that, you can go ahead and start your motor. So you use this button right here, turns the motor over and starts it. Give it a little bit of gas, let it warm up a little bit maybe. And you can only start the motor if your neutral safety switch is on. So there's a switch right there, that black thing. You push that. Obviously, it's got to be in park. You push that, and you can go ahead and start it. The next step is you're going to go ahead and do your burnout. So with the burnout, you're going to shift back into second and leave it there. And you're just going to hold this burnout button right here, and we'll have it set at a certain RPM. I don't know what RPM we're going to use yet, but you'll have it set at RPM. You hold that and you floor it. So you're just going to floor this thing and do a big old John force down the strip. You let go, obviously, and hit the brake. And then the next thing you're going to do is set this thing in reverse and use your trans brake button right here to back up. So you kind of tap this and hold it a little bit, tap and hold it, and obviously watch your stager and get them to back you up right. And now once you've backed up, you're ready to go ahead and stage. So what you're going to do, shift back, and you're going to go over here and flip this switch right here. So that right one right there, you're going to flip that, and what that does is turn on the the shiftnoid here. So you're going to pull that back in first, and it'll hold it. Now you can still move the shifter and shift from first to second, but that lets it stay back there. Now if I turn that off, it's going to go ahead and pop it forward. But if I turn it back on, it activates it, and then it'll just leave it there. So now that we're in first, we can go on ahead and stage. So you're going to go up and stage. You can't forget your nitrous arming switch right there. Go up and stage. And what you're going to do is after you've lit the second bulb and your opponent has lit the second bulb, your tree is going to start dropping. So it'll be yellow, 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 green. I'll have to work out the timing, but you're not supposed to be on the trans brake for very long. And so what you'll do is go yellow, brake, and then floor the gas, and then your next yellow, and your next yellow, and your green. And then let off the trans brake. What that's going to do, obviously, is launch. So you've just launched. And you're going to go down the drag strip. Now what this does right here, I've got this set to 5500. This thing, I've got it set to 5500, and what that does is it's an RPM actuator, and it activates this shiftnoid at 5500 RPM. So as soon as this car hits 5500, this is going to go like that and jam it into second. After you've done that, you're going down the strip, and you've made like a 2-second pass, and you're going to go ahead and hit the parachute over here. You're going to just smack that forward, and it opens your parachute. Obviously brake off the gas and cool down. Obviously get up into the return lane and kill it and wait to be towed back. So that's kind of taking you through the process of what it's going to take to make a pass in this thing. And I think this is pretty cool. I forgot to talk about nitrous. Here's our nitrous switch. So we have it on an arm. This is the arming switch. If that's off, nothing's going to happen. That's on. In order to use nitrous, your foot has to be all the way to the floor, because there's a full throttle safety or a full throttle switch in the back on the carburetor. Your foot has to be all the way to the floor, and you have to press this button. So once you press this switch right here, nitrous is going. So in case you're in a bracket race, you need to get ahead a little bit. Just tap that a couple times, maybe. Well, I'm not going to tap it. I'm going to hold it. But you tap that, and you're just going to go ahead and get up there. Now this thing right here, I'm not sure. So it's set at 73 there. We don't want it at 73. If I turn the shiftnoid off, okay, I don't know. We still got to figure this thing out. Normally I had it set at 5500, but it'll shift once I have it at 5500. If you turn the shiftnoid on, the reason we have the shiftnoid on a switch is because this thing gets hot. It's called a it's an active circuit or something like that. So it's using power right now to hold that back. And then once power is killed via the switch or 5500 is what this thing does. It kills power to this. As soon as power is killed is when it shifts. That's kind of how that works.